First of all, I'd like to welcome Mona, last year's winner. She has represented Corrib in a great way for the year. You'll get to meet her now in a second. I'd like to wish the three ladies well. Amy Jackson, Brona O'Rourke and Sinead Cusack. We've been for the last 2 days watching the videos that have been done, and I mean, amazing what the three ladies are doing in farming. So I mean, you're three winners already, so best of luck to you. I don't have a say. If I had a say, I'd have to fall with the nice ladies from Newport, seeing that I am a male. But I'm not one of the judges, but I'm going to introduce you to the three judges, one being Assumpta Mullen, John Linsky and Richard Moran. And the work that these three people do year in, year out, because they pick top class people to win. So it says no more, they're great people. So I'd like you to put your hands together for our three judges. Last time, by no means least, we were delighted when the Rose of Tralee got Dahi O'Shea, and this one got that one and the other got that one, but Corrib got Darren McCullough, and without further ado, we want to hold on to Darren McCullough, so I'm going to hand you over to Darren.
Thanks, Darren. Good on you. Thanks. Thank you very much, Eamon. Great to be back here at the Corrib stand again. I missed last year. Was anyone else stuck out in the car park when the wind was blowing? Oh my God, what a nightmare. But the show goes on, and I know, Mona, you were selected in my absence. Give her a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Mona, I wasn't here to interview you last year, so tell me more about yourself, what your setup at home is.
Yeah, I'm working partnership with my husband and my brother. I run a beef suckery dairy farm.
And has anything changed much over the last 12 months? I mean, do you have to sign autographs in the shops now, or?
I get recognised a lot. People look at me and go, I know you from somewhere, but I don't know where. Maybe it's, I think we got about 25,000 views on the video,
really?
So I think that's why a lot of people knew us.
And all cotton aside, the profile of women in agriculture is going like that. Power to the women! Have you seen yourself in terms of a change in how people react to women, or has anything changed for you on a day-to-day basis in that regard?
Not really. I was one of these people that I was just there in everyone's face anyway. So I suppose the only thing that I did achieve this year was I got made vice president of the ICSA. So I'm the first woman in leadership of that. So that was a great bonus for us.
Okay. Well done. Give her a round of applause. Not easy to be a farm leader at the moment. Dare I mention it?
Oh God, don't!
Yeah.
My phone will be ringing in a minute. Look, it is what it is. Unfortunately, we're just up against it, so we just have to pull together and keep fighting. That's all we can do.
I mean, the one question I've been asked over and over since I came in the gates this morning at 7:30 is it going to end? Does anyone know?
No one knows.
We're talking about beef protests, by the way, for anyone who's been on the moon for the last 2 months. But no one knows if the protests are going to end?
No, we've tried everything to talk to both sides, and you have the barons versus the farmers, you have farmers versus farmers. It's just, unfortunately, it's just got to a very toxic stage.
Okay, well, today I suppose we can kind of park the troubles. I mean, every farm is a challenge in its own regard, and I think the vast majority of people who come here today are coming on a day out, and the atmosphere is brilliant, isn't it?
It's electric, and it's great to see, and it's such a, I suppose, a transformation from last year, and it's great to see the three ladies. I was looking at the videos and I was just blown away. I was like, oh, this is what we need more of this, and it was great to see actually I'm not biased, but one of my, from home, one of the girls is a
fellow county woman.
Well, she's in Clare, but I'm only like 5 minutes from her, and I because of the beef I didn't get to see the videos until yesterday, and I was like, I recognise that place. So it was great to see someone flying the flag. Yeah, and I think that's the brilliant thing about the initiative by Corrib, and it does take a lot of effort, ladies and gentlemen, to pull this together every year, and I think Corrib and all the people behind this initiative deserve a big round of applause for the effort that they put into this, highlighting the brilliant women that we have
in Irish agriculture, and you're an example of that. So give her a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Mona there, last year's winner, and well done, and thanks so much for coming up and talking to us. Okay, without any further ado, any supporters here? Yeah, you're all supporters. Oh my God. Okay, I better not say the wrong thing. So, will we start off with our Mayo woman, Sinead? How are you doing? Sinead, for the benefit of those who didn't see the video, and it was a brilliant video, I thought you outlined brilliantly what you're about, and the scenery behind you, my God.
If it was a better day, it'd be better again. But
yeah.
Anyway, it didn't turn out that way.
You're farming in Newport, or up in the hills overlooking Newport.
Yes, indeed. The Navenbeg on Duff Range.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that'd be considered tough. Well, as a Mead man, I'd be scared of my life trying to make a living up there because I'd starve in a week.
Yes, yes. But it isn't for everyone. If you know the terrain, you know where your sheep are going to stay. The majority of them kind of where they are, they stay, and you're kind of go, and within a couple of yards, they're in that one section again. Yeah. You know?
But it's not like you're farming literally hundreds of acres, and you took on your own farm in your own right. Tell me about that.
In '96, my granduncle, I was lucky enough to get inherited from my granduncle, and there was 100 hectares between mixed greenland and commonage. And we run sucklers and the Mayo Blackface Horn Joe, as we call them. Yeah.
And you're full time at the farm, and you've no distractions in your life.
No.
So the farmer has to pay the bills.
The farmer has to pay the bills.
Yeah, I was talking about during daytime, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not going to get into what distractions she has at night time, okay? The farming has to pay the bills.
Has to pay the bills.
Is it possible to do that in hill farming? I mean, hill farming has had a lot of challenges over the last number of years.
A lot of challenges. In the early 2000s, as I said on the video, we were just off that time by 70%. We have come back in our numbers slightly, but it'll all depend on the new cap again, where we go and what the numbers will be from there again. So it's hard at the minute. You know, the protests are going on. There's 70 lambs at home to be slaughtered at the minute. We can't get them in. We can't get them slaughtered, so they have to be left there for another while. We'll see how things will go.
I don't want to get political on this, but where do you stand on like? Would you prefer just the whole thing end and everyone go home and settle for what we've got?
It's hard to know because, you know, as I stand, you know, I'm a suckler. This is where we start off. My weanings are sold with them heifers or bulls. The next man has to feed them. He slaughters them. He does what he does with them, because everyone has to make a living at the end of the day. If you're not getting the money for what you're putting into them and what you're producing, it's not easy either. And I know people are standing on each side of the thing, and it's hard to know, and it's hard to say, well, this one is right or that one is right. Everyone has their own options, and they have their own opinions, and you know, it's down to the individual at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You know.
But it is, I mean, as you're holding those lambs back, or you've no beef stock to go to the factory, have you?
No, we sell them as weanlings. We sell everything as weanlings.
But as you hold the lambs, they get overfit, and that's a problem, and they're losing money?
They're losing money. They're losing money because every half kilo you go over the 21 kilos, you're in bother, like, you know, so you're just feeding them for nothing, really, you know?
Farming is a physical job, more physical than your average job, certainly more physical than an office job. I mean, no bother to you?
No bothers me, no. But I've grown up with it since I was knee high, standing in the corner, then you went out with sheep, lambs, cows, calf, and you name it, we were at it. Then an odd neighbour will ring and say, well, I've got cow down or sheep with something, and you go to them, and that's the way you work. And that's the community based end of it is great in our part of the country.
Is there still a lot of interaction between farmers in your locality? I wonder if, as farming becomes more and more modernised and fellas, you know, gear up with ever bigger kit, if the linkages between neighbouring farmers are weakening a little bit.
Not in our parts of the country, because, you know, you've seen the hills there and what we gather, you know, everyone goes to gather the sheep together.
When you're going mustering the sheep or whatever,
when you're gathering them up, be it for shearing or for lambing or whatever you're doing, and everyone goes in together, and if you have a few for me, I'll have a few for you when I gather, and that's the way, it's all community based, and that's the way we work at, and it's great. You know?
Can't afford to fall out with them.
No, you can't at this stage. All I must say, I have great neighbours at home, you know, like that, and they are magnificent to me, you know.
The future for you on your farm, is it that you need to keep on doing more, or can you add value some other way to what you're doing? Is there Highland cattle involved in your setup?
I have Isabel. She came to me 4 years ago. she's more photogenic than I am, I'll be honest with you. The photograph has been taken more often anyway. What we were hoping to do with her, we were hoping to get into lane cattle, which would be a short turn Highland cross, and a cross again, that heifer calf be crossed again with a short turn, you'll have your lane cow. They're easier fed, easier kept. They could be outwintered. There's something on the same line as the Highland Isabel at the minute,
Okay.
So that's what we're hoping to do. But they can only come in heat for 45 minutes, so you have to be bull, you have to be watching them constant. So it's a bit of a challenge in that line as well.
Yeah. God, you'd nearly need to be sleeping with the animals, keeping an eye on them. Here, listen. Are you ready?
As the girls say on a Saturday night when you're going out and you say, can I go anywhere? Hold on.
I'm chasing a different kind of romance.
Yes.
I hope this isn't being broadcast, by the way. We get ourselves into awful trouble here. It's such a long-term process, isn't it, farming, that you bought that animal. Was it one Highland cow?
One Highland cow. We also bought 2 heifers, but we happened to bull to run with them. You see, it was only short turn limousine and everything. I guess that's all you can run with them. Anything bigger than that, they'd have problem calving, and you don't want that trouble. Bringing it on the animal or on yourself at that stage.
And if they're that hard to work with, is it worth it? Like, what's the added value of the animal that you're producing at the other end?
At the minute, I have a Highland heifer out for last year's calf as a Highland heifer, so I'm starting my ling project at the minute.
Okay.
So hopefully at Christmas she'll be ready for AI, and we'll start the process from there.
And sure, I suppose from small acorns, big trees grow.
That's the whole thing. And because you have to try these things, as I say, sometimes it works, more times it doesn't, and it's just the chance you take when you get this.
If another farm came available in your locality, would you take it on, or have you enough now?
Well, at the minute we have kind of what we have, and we're able to manage what we have. Because there's always a couple of acres someplace that you get a couple of cattle or a couple of sheep for. But at the minute we're happy enough the way we are at the minute,
And busy enough.
I'm busy enough at this stage. Yeah.
Do you get any down? I'm sure the hours are long during the summertime. Does it quieten down a bit during the winter?
This time of year it kind of quietens. There's bits of fencing and bits of the tidying and that sort of thing. But silage is done. As I say, the lambs are ready for off at the minute. Whales will be sold maybe in October into November, and after that then you're kind of going into calving season again, putting them in and feeding and.
I used to dread when my dad used to tell me there was bits of jobs for me down the farm, because of course there was never a bit of a job. It was like that was a week-long project. You're obviously suffering from the same disease as every farmer,
Same disease. It was never an idle moment.
But it's not a bad thing to suffer from. Ladies and gentlemen, I think Sinead has given us a fantastic rundown on her farming enterprise, and we wish you the best of luck in the competition. Give her a big round of applause. Amy Jackson from Burr in Offaly, or near Burr, is it?
Yeah, just 11 kilometres outside Burr on the N52 between Burr and Morriskin.
Fantastic. Amy, before we go any further, that accent is throwing me. I don't know, it's Irish one minute and it doesn't sound very Irish the next. Where are we coming from?
Well, I'm originally from the southeast of England, then moved to Northumberland. I had a Northumbrian accent at that time, then moved into Newcastle to do my studies, to study environmental management there. I was a proper Geordie for a while.
Give us your best Geordie accent now.
I can't speak Geordie anymore.
Really?
I just adopt the accent of the people around me, really. Yeah. So I moved to Ireland then in December 2006 and met my husband.
Fell in love! Yeah, who's the lucky man?
Ross Jackson.
Where is he?
He's there.
There he is. How are you, Ross? How's it going? So
I married the neighbour. I met him.
Good stuff. Shop local, isn't that what they're all telling us to do these days? Yeah.
Keeping things efficient.
Yeah.
Reduce the mileage.
Yeah.
So we married in 2012 and formed a formal farm partnership in 2015 and put the farm into organic, and that's when things really kicked off for me in terms of my involvement on the farm. Okay,
and was that something you were pushing for, the organic side of things, or was that something that Ross was thinking of as well?
I'm not pushy.
She says, giving me the 1,000-mile stare. No, but genuinely, was organic something you had in the back of your head for long before that?
I hadn't. I had always been drawn to farms, always loved working on farms, helping out on farms. I never would have believed that I would one day be a farmer. So. Yeah. It didn't come into my head because I wasn't born on a farm.
Sure.
And I just sort of assumed you're born on a farm, you're born into it. But I had spent years helping out on other farms, and when my husband said how would I feel about putting the farm into organic and getting a few sheep, I was over the moon because sheep are my biggest interest on the farm. And like I said, I studied environmental management, so I have a huge interest in the soil side of things, animal welfare, and good food as well, and sustainability obviously. So all of those things come together nicely now in a new challenge, which is the organic side of things.
I'm just glad that my wife isn't here to hear you say that Ross asked you how you would feel about doing X, Y and Z. She'd be calling the whole way home and be, Dara, now did you hear that? Ask how we feel about things. So he sounds like the ideal man altogether. A bit of land, and he's open-minded and involves you in every decision.
Yeah, I don't really want him to hear this now because he'll only get big-headed, but I'm very fortunate in the sense that I didn't intend to marry a farmer. I didn't have an agenda, but I have married a farmer. I love farming, and not only that, but he's an agricultural consultant as well. So we have great advice right from my husband
Sure.
on the farm.
Yeah.
So he has helped us, I suppose, make the most of grant schemes, such as the organic scheme, the TAM scheme, and I didn't qualify as a young farmer as well. So we've spent the past 5 years investing in the farm to make it more efficient from a labour point of view.
And give me an example of some of the things you've invested in or some of the things you've changed.
Probably the most significant thing for me is that we bought a sheep handling system. Up until that point,
Is that one of these prattly crates with all kinds of levers and pulleys and stuff, no?
it's a George Stanley
Oh,
crate.
it's a George Stanley, excuse me, yeah, okay. Better again.
I better mention him.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's basically a race. We have a rollover crate, which is brilliant, it saves my back. We've a batch foot bath because our sheep being organic, we need to use a formula that they stand in for a few minutes, and the weigh scales. So recently one of my rams unfortunately injured its leg. I treated it for a week, then I got a bit nervous about it, so I brought it to the vet, and the vet looked at me and my pregnant bump and said, you know, you need to mind yourself and not be...
Yeah,
I was changing all the dressing.
Sheep for pregnant women, is that a no-no, is it, no?
At lambing time,
Yeah.
it's a no-no. You definitely shouldn't come in contact with any of the amniotic fluids. But unfortunately, ours will be born in January. Our lambing isn't until March, so I'm planning on being fully involved this year.
Get no time off. Sorry, I interrupted you. So that you were down with the vet, was it?
Yes. So I brought the ram to the vet, and the vet sort of tutted at me and said, you need to mind yourself. And I thought about it for a second, and I said, well, actually, do you know what? I can get the rams in, I can run him up a chute into the rollover crate, turn him over, change his dressing without even laying a finger on him or being in any harm's way. So, like the judges said actually when they visited, the difference that the sheep handling system has made is probably the difference between me farming for another 10 or 20 years versus farming for the rest of my life. So.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is sustainability. It's an often abused phrase that, you know, we talk about sustainability in farming, but, you know, making it that it's for the long run. It's not just a short-term gain and you bust yourself for a couple of years and try and make a go of it. You're setting up a system that you can work with for the rest of your working days.
Yeah, absolutely, and I see other farmers working for the rest of their working days, and I really believe that it keeps them fit and healthy, and I want to do the same, certainly. Although I want to make space for the next generation as well. We have a 3-year-old boy and he loves the farm, so he will be allowed to do as much as he wants to do. You know?
You're busy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Going to organic, one of the complaints I hear from organic sheep farmers is that there's a lot of leakage out of the system. It's difficult to find an organic market that pays a premium for all the lambs that are produced. Is that a challenge that you find?
It was a challenge in our first year. Now last year we were very fortunate. All of our lamb went organically to Irish Country Meats in Camol and Wexford. And same again this year, bar a few very early lambs. They need a certain size batch, so we had a few very early lambs and they wouldn't have had the volume for the organic market. But most of our lamb goes to Germany for baby food.
Go away.
Yeah, so they're very strict on the type of medicine inputs that the lamb has had. So I have full traceability on every individual lamb is tagged at birth, and I have complete records of what each individual lamb was treated with, and we have to declare every medicine that was given to every individual before they're sold.
Are you allowed to tell me, would you have to kill me, what kind of a premium you get on a kilo for that, percentage-wise even?
Yeah, so we would get 15% above the base price. We're in the Offaly Lamb Producer Group, so they have a base price based on other people's base prices for that week. We don't get paid for the grade, but equally we're not cut ourselves at the moment if we go a little bit overweight. Sometimes it is hard to get them in, we book them in well in advance, and sometimes they might be able to take them for 3 or 4 weeks, so it's great that we're not cut on the kilos. It typically works out about €10 per head.
And you're also growing a lot of tillage, organic tillage, but is that the nature of organic farming, that you can't be a one-trick pony, you can't really just fatten lambs or lamb yos or whatever, you have to actually produce the food for them as well, and if you want to keep sheep during the winter time you need cereals, so you need organic cereals and you have to do all that yourself. Is that challenging to be kind of multitasking?
It is challenging, but we really love the challenge. It keeps us on our toes and keeps us interested. I think one of the very important things for us in organic farming is the rotation. So that we have cattle, sheep and tillage, and the three things work very nicely together. The cattle and the sheep work together in terms of keeping the worm burden down, and then the grassland and the tillage works in rotation. So typically we aim for the land to be 50-50 split between tillage and grassland, and the rotation then would be barley, oats, and then grassland for a couple of years. So by putting it into grassland, it gets rid of the tillage weeds, and then we're able to, as well as building soil biology, fertility, we use clover in our stores as well. And then each winter we put in a cover crop, and the sheep graze that, so the grassland is given a rest as well.
Ladies and gentlemen, I said she was busy. She's obviously a young child, another one on the way. They're very heavily involved in the farm, converting the farm to organic, but you also have an off-farm job.
Yes.
You're making us all feel inadequate here. Tell us, go on.
So I was full-time working in Gertine College, which is an agricultural college. I'm fortunate that it's only 3 kilometres away from home. And being an agricultural college, they are very understanding as well. There has been times at Lamantine when I just said I just need to pop back to the sheep shed and check things. And then after I went back after my first maternity leave, I just found we were putting ourselves under too much pressure. I was doing the sheep work in the evenings and the weekends, and I really wanted to reserve that time for family. So I went part-time then in a job share. So I worked 2.5 days in Gertine, 2.5 days on the farm, and I tried to keep the evenings and weekends for fun and family.
God, I'm exhausted just listening to her. Give her a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Fantastic to be able to keep a balance with all that. I've been pummeling you for information. I'm gonna, honestly, it's all gonna end soon. In terms of the future, if you were here talking to us in 10 years' time, apart from having 2 wonderful children in tow at least, anything else you have in mind for the farm?
Yeah, I mean we're open-minded as to the market. We appreciate maybe that it's, beef situation is difficult at the moment. We had all of our beef booked in. We buy cattle in spring, finish them off the grass and sell them in autumn. We had all of our cattle booked in before they were even bought this year, so that's how difficult it is to get the cattle sold. But still, we need the rotation, and the cattle and sheep graze the grass. But then in terms of the tillage side of things, we're growing barley for Waterford Distillery. They produce whiskey with our barley. We grow oats for flatbins, for porridge. So we're producing human foods off our tillage.
So you're kind of diversified a bit, yeah?
Yeah, well, and we're interested in, perhaps we appreciate that plant-based foods is a very big thing at the moment, and we think that's where the demand is going. So we have trialled a few things on the farm, and we'll be trialling more things just to see what can we grow in our area, what can we harvest.
Like
linseed, hemp, buckwheat, just alternate things that are on the shelves but not commonly produced.
Okay. And any of them that you're thinking are, yep, that's a likely candidate? You've planted all these in the spring just gone by?
No, my brother-in-law planted hemp this year, and that's, I I suppose he's been a bit of a pioneer there, because there are great big machines to harvest hemp, but not when you're doing it on a smaller scale, so he's had to come up with his own solutions there. We trialled lupins on the farm this year as a protein feed for the sheep, so we're interested in growing our own organic feed on our farm for the sheep if we can, because to buy organic food is quite expensive for the livestock. Now that worked out well in the sense that we did harvest it, but we only harvested a portion of it because we thought the weather had turned for good. So we mowed it, let it lie so the seed would dry and harden, and then we went with the combine last night and harvested it.
Last night?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But we probably only got 0.5, like half a tonne per acre, where we'd be looking more to get maybe around the 2, but we reckon we probably left a tonne on the ground.
Yeah.
So we've learnt lessons there, and it's things like that we will be trying just in small patches. We tried combi crops as well, oats and wheat and combi crop. We tried mechanical weed suppression in the oats. We tried using clover in the bottom of the oats to help nutrify the soil and suppress the weeds. So we have these trial plots every year, and we kind of get excited by it, we like to try new things. So.
Great, fantastic. I could stand here talking for hours to you, but we need to move on, and I think you've given us a wonderful insight into your farm and your family and all the things you've going on in your life. And yet another fantastic example of a woman in Irish agriculture. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Amy Jackson. Well done, Amy. Thank you so much. Hey, Brona. Yeah, Brona. How are you? How's it going? Brona, you're a townie.
I'm a total townie, Cavan woman through and through. Yeah, so you might be confused by the accent. It's not a Clare accent at all. So
it's nearly a County Loud accent. You could be from Dundalk or somewhere like that. No, Aldi or something like that.
No way. Cavan all the way.
Yeah, Cavan all the way. But you went all the way to Clare. What happened?
All the way to Clare. Well, first I went to the Galway races.
Yeah.
So you would have been more than likely see me in a hat and a dress a few years ago, not wellies and a shovel. But nowadays it's all changed. So I met my husband Cahill at the Galway races.
Okay.
And
you were able to recognise him still the next day, yeah?
Oh, just about, yeah. We had to pay for breakfast, obviously.
Yeah. We won't get into any more details, No. So suffice to say, it was a successful day at the races, and you've ended up in Clare.
Yes.
A long way from Cavan.
A long way. Now, in fairness, Cahill did his time. He had to drive up and down the road to Cavan, and it's not very nice going through Athlone and up those back.
You made him earn his stripes, yeah?
He earned his stripes, and he proved he was worth it, so he was doing
that. Is he here, is he?
He is, yeah.
Oh, there you are. He's still looking tired. God help you. Fair play. Give him a round of applause. He went up and down that road all the time. Fair play to you. I tell you, the Clare men, they're persistent, aren't they?
Yeah, and I always say that now to any young fella I say, persistence pays.
Yeah.
You might think it'll work out, but in the end, we're proof of that.
Fair play. Tell me about the farming setup at home.
Well, the farm setup is just something I never anticipated doing at all. It's 500 acres, so it's fairly vast, but it's grassland, it's ancient forest, it's the original Catholic church in Boston, the ruins are there, so it's very historical. We've got
You're in the heart of the Burren.
We're in the heart of the Burren, so you've got the limestone land, you've got Loch Bunny. So when I was going out there, I actually said sometimes, we'll just bring a flask, because I actually find it really relaxing sitting out here. And I said, loads of people will pay for this experience. So then last year I did a tour guiding course. And you know what? I met a lovely lady on it, Teresa. She was supposed to come, but she couldn't make it. And she really inspired me. And she said, Bruna, I really feel like you've got something good here. You don't have to do a big picnic, but offer people something. Colin's good at talking, you're obviously good at talking, so you can marry that into an actual product that people will come to see. And it's difficult. Sometimes when people come to see the Burren, they're left at the national park and they don't know where to go, and they've got this loop or that loop, and it could be 9k. So when you come to us, you can sit on a trailer on the nice straw bales and relax and get brought for a picnic. So it's a day out.
Down across
it's a little bit rocky. But you know what? Next year we could have a really nice comfy trailer if we get all the visitors we're expecting.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done the Burren tour myself on the bus, and you're kind of bussed out of Galway, and there's that and there's this, and now we're heading home again, or fire you into a cafe. It felt like I wasn't really able to engage with the real Burn and what makes the Burn famous, all that flora and fauna, and it's the micro kind of what's down in the cracks and the grikes and dikes. You'd be able to tell me more about the technical terminology.
Yeah. Well, I'm learning, and I suppose the thing about it is we're always learning. I joined Burn Bio, it's a trust, a charity trust in the area, and every month they do tea talks and they bring experts out. So what we're going to do next month is bring people to our farm. But there's botanists that come and explain things, there's archaeologists, so because the flora and fauna are the main important things in the Burn, if the biodiversity and cattle weren't there to graze down the land, you wouldn't see the flowers and the birds and the bees and the very unusual orchids that grow there. It just simply wouldn't happen. So we need to farm to keep it going, but we need to have another income stream to keep us there. And I've got 3 young kids, young girls, and like already they're seeing the value of the tour and the value of Mammy getting involved with the farm and helping Daddy and seeing what they can do. I've one now that's in charge of blankets in case they get cold on the way back. Another one that's in charge of, you know, making sure that everyone's happy, you know. So it's really, it's nice to see them showing their kind of nature side. Last week we went foraging because obviously at the moment blackberries are very popular and people were going home with baskets of blackberries. So we kind of
a simple thing. I mean, you know, you'd say that to our parents and they go, did people pay for this?
That? Yeah, that's what we're getting a lot. Like, you know, a lot of people locally will go, really? And what do you do with the people program? Well, I'm like, you probably can't see it, but if I'm here for an hour, I could decide that I want to sit down. We could do a fairy walk. I could think of 10 things or 10 different activities I can do with kids. And a lot of that is coming back. Kids aren't really aware of where food is coming from. So to understand, yeah, your hazelnuts actually grow on this bush, your blackberries and your blueberries come from bushes and trees. So it's very important that we relay that back to children all the time.
And it was probably because you were a fresh set of eyes down on the farm that you were coming at it from a different perspective, that farmers see their farms and all they can think of is, you know, can I produce more cattle or can I produce more sheep, or if I spread more fertiliser will I get more grass? But you came at it and said, hang on a second lads, let's reset the button here.
Yeah. Cahill did the green cert, so for a long time I was going, right, so you actually have to measure grass and stuff like this, and kind of going, this is mad, you know, because when I went down there I was in sales for years, so my automatic thing is how do you make a thing more attractive and make it saleable. So everything else about the place and the collective thing was more than, I know the cattle are important, but for me it was more about the whole entire product that you could offer. So
and it's almost something I think that beef farmers, they're getting a sense of it now, Irish beef farmers, that what they're producing is so much more valuable than just the weight in the meat. It's the story that's around it.
It's the story, and not to be big-headed about our own land and our own farm, but our beef is much nicer because our cattle graze on land where there's flora and fauna and herbs there that they wouldn't get anywhere else.
Pre-seasoned beef.
Yeah, exactly, or anything, you know, you could put the Burn beef tagline on anything. That's what I'd love to see, farmers coming together and having that as a product.
Tourism goes 12 months of the year now. Are people happy enough to tog out into the Burn in the middle of December in the lashing rain?
We've done a couple of tours in the rain, and actually it turns out to be a bit of a fun factor. There were German tourists that came out on a really bad evening.
Flipping Germans, huh?
In August. And do you know what they laughed? Because I produced the hang sandwiches, and they were just laughing like. So we had a great time, but what I'm doing in May next year, I've been approached by a couple of schools to do school tours, so that'll extend the season. At the moment, we're doing groups at the weekend, so we're going to do a Halloween little themed walk and stuff like that. So I think you have to look at it from another angle, that it's not just the tourists you're looking for, or if it is, Fall to Ireland and Discover Ireland are doing an awful lot of research into when different tourists come, so you might think it all just happens by accident, but it doesn't. Those groups are very much identified. So if you can look at the market, apparently the Germans come in September. They don't book in high season in August. So there is a way to catch them.
You have to be very careful with the money.
Oh, you must. But actually, they're not too bad. They don't question it. Once you get it online before they come, you're all right.
Lovely. You're paid. Come on ahead. Our Irish farmers, I often get asked, you know, Dara, what else can farmers do apart from maybe what they're currently doing, if it's beef or sheep? And I often feel that the whole idea that every farmer can diversify is a little bit wishful, that, you know, it takes a certain personality. a couple of things have to fall into place. You happen to be in a beautiful part of the country, you happen to have a marketing background, you happen to have an interest and a knowledge about the environment around you. But is there scope for more Irish farmers to do what you're doing?
I think so. I was just saying that earlier on. A few of my friends have approached me lately and said, we'd love to help our husbands out more because they are going through a difficult time. And they're asking me, can you help? So I think actually a network of women together said, this is where we are. Like, hens are another opportunity. You know, if you don't have a view, you can put hens anywhere. You
they
know,
won't mind.
within reason.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think there is scope, and I think if you look at what you have, people nowadays or recently have been so negative about stuff where I try and look at it the other way.
Yeah.
You know, look at the 3 good things that happened that day and then try and focus on them in the morning when you get up, and maybe some idea will come from that. In fairness, ideas have never been a problem for me.
Yeah.
It's keeping them down is the issue.
Every morning you're up.
Yeah.
And do you know what else we could do, Cathal?
Yeah. Have you got a digger? Yeah.
Woman, give me rest. What do I call it? I went up and down to Cavan for how many years, and now you're still torturing me.
Yeah. So that's what we have to do to get a job done.
Yeah. It takes the best man to get a job done is a woman.
I'll tell you, yeah. And I've often tried to take out the hammer, and he's been sorry. If he had to do what he was asked, he would have got it done.
Your involvement in this competition, I mean, as a Corrib wouldn't have a presence, I don't think, in Cavan. Do you have a presence in Cavan? I don't think so, no.
Not yet.
So, not yet. The gradual reverse takeover of the country is ongoing. Were you surprised by this? Was this competition news to you?
Total news to me, yeah. And actually, David, very nice, rang me. And he's very straight the way he talks. There's no messing. But I thought it was somebody messing with me.
Yeah.
Like I
winding you up.
Yeah, and I have a few brothers now. They just could totally mess something. So I was convinced, and I answered the call. I said, right, all right, okay. Yeah, thanks for that.
Oh, yeah.
But then I rang it back because I went in and told my mother-in-law, Lila, who was lovely, and she said, no, I'd say they were serious. So I rang David back and said, sorry, David, I really didn't take in anything that you said there. What was that again? So, yeah, it all came out.
It's a miracle you're here at all.
Yeah, I'm telling you, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think Bron has given us a fantastic rundown on some of the opportunities. If you look at our farms, maybe beyond just pure food production, and that there is a whole world of possibility out there. And I think, Bronnie, you encapsulate a lot of the wonderful things that we can do with the wonderful farms that we have, and it is still a wonderful country to farm in. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for Rona O'Rourke.
I'd like to congratulate the 3 participants and thank them for the reception we got, and I wish them the best of luck, and I know for a fact the way they're headed that things will be successful for them.
Yeah, well said. Well done, John. And I can only echo John's sentiments. I think our 3 finalists, in my mind, encapsulated resilience, innovation, enterprise, positivity, all the types of things that are going to make rural Ireland thrive and hum into the future. Ladies and gentlemen, we cannot handle this suspense any longer. Oh my God, who is it? It's in here somewhere. Hang on a second now. So, the winner of the Corrib Oil Farmer Women in Farming Awards 2019, and going home with a cheque of €1,000, and the big prize is Sinead Cusack! Well done, Sinead.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Sinead, I'll let Assumpta present the award, and maybe you'll say a few words, Assumpta. Yeah, okay, over to you.
Congratulations, Sinead. As John alluded to earlier, choosing the winner of this competition was so hard. The standard, we've been doing this competition now for 5 years, and it has steadily rose over the 5 years. It's a very hard decision, but a very worthy winner.
Thank you very much.
On behalf of Corrib, Sinead, to present you with your trophy.
Thank you very much.
Well done, well done. I think we've a popular winner here. That's not to say that the other finalists were undeserving. Sinead, any thoughts? I mean, you're probably gobsmacked at this stage.
I didn't expect this, I'll be honest with you. You know, the other two girls, I said to you, we're all doing the same job, but in different ways. I want to thank Fiona Murphy. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Fiona nominating me. I want to thank Noreen Chambers, who organised the bus the minute the word went out. Noreen organised the bus. I want to thank Patricia McManaman, Alan down there for doing their bits, besides for my neighbours, my aunts, uncles, cousins, neighbours, everyone that came and supported me, and I want to thank everyone, and my neighbours at home as well too for helping me out.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think this is a fitting recognition. Like, there's hard hours. It's not all joy and sunshine on a farm, and you know that as well as any.
No, because when the judges came out to me that morning, you know, and we were taking clips of what we thought was the scenic areas where we live. And I said, you know, the weather will rule ultimately what we do here. And we weren't gone half the length of the field going taking a photograph or taking the video. When next day a downpour rain came, we got drowned before we landed in the car. So, you know, every day it's not sunshine, but you know, you make the best of what you're doing and you get on with it, and that's the way.
And there's weather, and there's stock goes against you, and there's all kinds of things that go against you. But today is a day. Mayo has finally won an All-Ireland. And I can see it means so much to you. There was tears welling up in your eyes there.
Yeah, look, we're only as good as the generation that has come before us, and the ones that's coming after us, we have to look after for them coming ahead again. You know?
Ladies and gentlemen, I think a worthy winner. Give it up one last time. Sinead Cusack. Well done, well done. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it for us for today. Thanks so much to everyone who came, to everybody who participated, to everybody who helped, to everybody who looked after myself and the judges. We have a few more presentations. Maybe we'll call up Brona and Amy. Is Amy there? Where is Amy? Amy, come on ahead here. Give her a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Well done. Well done, well done. Something. Do you want to talk?
Oh no.
Yeah. Okay, so photographs, lovely. Okay, well done. Well done. And Brona, go ahead up there. Well done, ladies and gentlemen. Give a round of applause there for Brona, please. Okay.
On the entries this year, just to give you an idea of the amount of people, we had entries from almost 20 counties in Ireland, so that will just give you the spread of the entrants that entered this year. So it's been steadily growing over the years, so even to get to the final three is a great achievement in itself. Don't think by any means there has to be a winner, but you're all very worthy winners. And you notice we were a long time deliberating in there, myself and the two judges. So you've done extremely well to get this far. It's growing every year. The more women that's in farming is easily recognisable as you go through the country. Sure, Dara will allude to that on years round, that the women are getting more popular, and about time.
They're always popular.
Well done, ladies, to get this far.
Yeah, well done. Okay. Well said, Assumpta. Okay, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. If you're hitting the roads, safe travelling. If you're sticking around the site, enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you very much.